Hello everyone, welcome to Lukmaan IAS. Today we are going to have the Hindu newspaper analysis dated 11th of November 2023. In today's newspaper analysis, we are going to look into those articles that are important from the UPSC point of view. So we have included many articles ranging from the editorial section to other areas of the newspaper, right? So let us quickly see the list of articles that we are going to cover in today's newspaper analysis. So these articles we are going to discuss in today's newspaper analysis. Name of the articles with their relevance from the UPSC syllabus is mentioned, and also we have listed the page numbers from the Hindu newspaper. All right, so let us start the discussion with the first topic of the day. So this name of the topic is governors, right? Governors. Just a minute. All right. So name of the topic is governors cannot sit on the bills passed by houses. It was said by the Supreme Court of India. All right. So this is the name of the topic. So recently, let's say issue has arisen, and this is not a very new issue. This issue has been there related to polity, right? So like in every state, right? And in every state there is a elected government. And in that state, let's say central government has appointed a person named known as governor. So the thing is, like, every time, let's say there is a state which is ruled by a new party which is not in the center. So whatever bills they pass, right, it goes to the governor. And then what the governor does, governor, let's say, takes time. I mean, either to approve the bill or to reject the bill. Sometimes the governor retains the bill with himself for a long time. So this leads to a kind of situation where important bills also gets delayed. So in this respect, recently the Punjab government, right, Punjab government, which is being ruled by Aam Aadmi Party. So Punjab government has approached the court, right, and also there's an issue from the Tamil Nadu government also. So these two state governments have been alleging that the governors are not passing the bills. Their governors are delaying the bills for a long time. So Punjab government approached the court, and the Supreme Court of India has, let's say, taken a view in this regard. And according to Supreme Court of India said that the governors cannot sit on the bills passed by the houses. Means like in every state we have a state legislative assembly. In some of the states we also have a state legislative council. And those states are known as bicameral states, like states having two houses. Those states that have only one house, which is state legislative assembly, that is known as unicameral, legislation they have, unicameral state. So the thing is, like, once bills are passed by the houses, by the houses in the sense state legislative assembly and state legislative councils in the state, so these bills, let's say, are sent to the governor for his assent. So the governor must sign on those bills. I mean, like, either like governor has a stand to reject the bill, or he can accept the bill, or he can, let's say, reserve the bill for consideration of the President of India, or he can send back the bill to the houses so that the houses may relook into those aspects that the governor says. So the stand of the Supreme Court of India is that governors are appointed by the President of India. Governors are appointees of the President of India, and governors are there to look into the constitutional aspects related to the bill. They should not take a stand of political parties that are at the center. So that's why Supreme Court of India has said that a state government that comes into power, this state government is elected by the people, right? So state government is elected by the people. Once people elect the state government, then what happens? Means, then they come into power, then they actually reflect the will of the people of the state. So the thing is like they introduce bills, they pass the bills, and if governor does not pass those bills, if governor does not take the decision, it amounts to, let's say, delaying in legislating, right? So this weakens the state government. So that's why the Supreme Court of India has said that, like, the governor, if it is not doing its duty, if he or she is not doing his or her duty, so in that case, I mean, like, they are weakening the state governments, right? So we are going to understand about this topic. So what was the position of the court? Like, what was the prescription of the court? So Supreme Court of India has observed that the governor is playing with fire by holding back crucial bills. Governor cannot sit on the bills, claiming the House passed them in an invalid session convened after adjourning sine die without prorogation. Now here we need to understand the difference between these words, adjournment and prorogation. So when we talk about adjournment, right? Adjournment is, let's say, like, let's understand about this particular aspect quickly. So one thing which is discussed is adjournment. So all decisions related to adjournment in our state legislative assembly, right, in a state legislative assembly, is taken by the Speaker of the House, So adjournment is a kind of day-to-day functionality, right? It is a day-to-day functionality of the Speaker, right? So the Speaker is free to decide, right, where or when to adjourn, right? It is a day-to-day functionality. And if we talk about prorogue, right, if we talk about this particular key term, prorogation, right? So prorogation is a function of the governor. I mean, like, in this case, the governor of Punjab, he has, let's say, like, sent the secretary, of the state or secretary to the governor to appear before the court. But court has taken an observation that governors are, let's say, like, they are nominees of the President of India. So the governor should look only into the constitutional aspects, right? Only into the constitutional aspects related to the bills that are introduced, that are, let's say, coming from the houses. If some of the bills are against the provisions of the constitution, in that case only the governor should send it back to the houses. If they are constitutionally valid according to the, let's say, like, observation of the governor, so in that case the governor should accept or reject. Means, like, governor has been given some kind of constitutional discretion, so governor can utilize those constitutional discretion in matters of bills, but, like, governor should not sit with these bills indefinitely. Okay, so this was the opinion of the Supreme Court of India. So here the governor as an appointee, okay, so the Supreme Court of India has said that the governor as an appointee of the president is a titular head of the state, okay, but the real or de facto head is the chief minister of the state, okay. And the thing is, like, governor should act in accordance with the advice of the council of ministers in this state also. This happens in the case of, let's say, in the case of union government also, that the president should act in aid and advice of the council of ministers, right, at the central level. So this is the thing. So Supreme Court has issued notice to Tamil Nadu's petition against R.N. Ravi. So who is R.N. Ravi? R.N. Ravi is the, I think, like, the governor in that in Tamil Nadu. Okay, so Tamil Nadu government has petitioned. So this again highlights the, let's say, tussle between the chief minister or the state government with the governor. Governors are generally appointed by the central government. Okay, this is the thing. So with this, we are going to solve a question. So this question, like, we are going to take this question after the second article. Let's say, let us understand about this article first. It says, during talks with the US, India bats for two-state solution to end Israel-Palestine crisis. Right, now let us understand about this topic. Right, so name of the topic is during talks with US, During talks with the US, India bets for two-state solution. India bets for two-state solution to end Israel-Palestine crisis. To end Israel-Palestine crisis. So as we all know that between Israel and Palestine, a tussle is going on, right? So they are into a state of warfare. Why? Because recently Hamas has attacked on Israel on 7th of October. And soon after that, Israel has retaliated, right? Israel has retaliated in a area which is known as Gaza Strip. So let's say like, this is the location of Israel. So this is Israel, map of Israel, right? Over here, we have a territory which is known as Gaza Strip, right? And over here, we have another territory which is known as West Bank. Okay, this territory is known as West Bank. So the attack that the Israelis are doing, they are doing in Gaza Strip. So in Gaza Strip, thousands of people have been killed. So far, I mean, like, more than 10,000 people have been killed. Okay, 10,000 people have been killed in Gaza Strip. And most of these people are, let's say, around 40% of them are children. So most of these people are being killed, and like, Israeli defense forces have also attacked some of the places that are hospitals, that are rehabilitation centers, that are, let's say, refugee camps. So these places have not also been spared by the Israeli defense forces, right, in Gaza Strip. So the thing is, like, around the world, there is a hue and cry related to this. People are saying that, like, there should be ceasefire. People are saying there should be ceasefire of the activities from both the sides. However, the thing is, like, Israel is being backed, right? Israel is being backed by the United States of America. And recently a resolution was also introduced in the United Nations General Assembly. In UNGA, a resolution related to ceasefire was introduced, but the thing is, like, in that resolution, around 119 member countries of the United Nations General Assembly have accepted that there should be a ceasefire. And there were few countries, that includes United States of America and the United Kingdom, who opposed any resolution related to ceasefire in that particular territory. So USA is playing a key role like in Israel's war, right, against Hamas. So USA is playing the diplomatic game over here. Means, like, USA is meeting with the leaders, right, of Palestinian, let's say, like, Palestinian Authority in West Bank. Here, like, one of the Secretary of State, which is equivalent to the foreign minister in USA. So he has visited the West Bank. He has met with the Palestinian Authority over here. So now in India, we are conducting a 2+2 dialogue. Okay, what is being conducted? We are conducting a 2+2 dialogue. Okay, 2+2 dialogue is being conducted. Here in this 2+2 dialogue, like, two people from USA, right? Two people from USA. One would be, let's say, Secretary of State, which is foreign, equivalent to foreign minister, and Secretary of Defense. Okay, so here two foreign ministers from USA and India, right? Foreign minister and defense minister, we would say, right? Defense minister. However, they follow different nomenclature. Okay, foreign minister and defense minister from both these countries, like from USA, the Secretary of State and Defense Secretary, and from India, the Foreign Minister of India and the Minister of Defense. So they recently had a dialogue, and in that particular dialogue, like, India has pressed for a two-state solution, like, to end the war, to end the conflict between Israel and Palestine. So what is two-state solution? At this present moment, the Palestinian state is divided into two territories. One is West Bank, other is Gaza Strip. But the thing is, like, they do not have a kind of sovereign government, because, like, West Bank is also partially controlled by Israel, because Israelis have created settlements over here. They have settled the refugees I mean, like Israeli people over here, they maintain huge army. So like, you know, Palestine is not an independent state at that point, at this point of time. But Israel is a sovereign state. So the thing is, like, people are saying that there should be a two-state solution, that like, you know, Palestine and Israel should coexist side by side. They should have their own government. Their government should be, let's say, independent enough to take any decision, right, related to their internal matters. But at this point of time, the Palestinians are, let's say, like, you know, claiming back their own territory. Why they are claiming back? Because it has a history of warfare. This has started from 1917 Balfour Declaration. So that Balfour Declaration was made by, let's say, like, you know, by the UK government, by, let's say, like, foreign minister of UK. So they have said that, like, you know, they will strive to provide a national home to the Israeli people, to the Jewish people, like, you know, in the Palestinian territory. So they have thought of establishing, let's say, like, you know, Jewish homeland and also homeland for the Arab people in Palestine. But the thing is, earlier the entire territory was part of Palestine, right? So in 1948, Israel has claimed to establish a government, and within 11 minutes of their, let's say, proclamation, the United States of America has accepted it to be a, let's say, like, state, to be an independent state. So that has been the history related to it. After this, there have been series of warfare. In 1948 itself, there was a war. In 1973, there was a war that is known as Yom Kippur War, right? And later on also, there have been many wars between Israel and Palestine. But the thing is, like, you know, Palestinian people have been slowly and gradually being made weak. But the thing is, Israelis, I mean, like, have the support from USA, from UK, I mean, some of the most developed countries of the world. So they have the support of this. But the thing is, like, if we talk about the present moment, in present moment, there should be ceasefire. However, in the 2+2 dialogue that was there between the foreign ministers of USA and India and defense ministers of USA and India, they did not talk about ceasefire. However, India has pressed that, like, you know, we want a kind of, we are in favor of a two-state solution, so that the issue that is there, the geopolitical tension between Palestine and Israel, it should be solved, let's say, like, you know, and that should be a long-term solution between both these countries. Okay, so this is the thing. So in this article, they have discussed about it. They have basically, like, it is there was more talk between related to bilateral relations between India and USA. Okay, so in this article, so in this meeting, they have discussed about this Israel-Palestine issue also. So now we are going to solve this question. This question is related to that. It says, consider the following: agreement on technical cooperation, general security of military information agreement, logistics exchange memorandum of agreement. So these are the three agreements. It says how many of the above agreements has India signed with USA. So India is a good partner to the United States of America, and we have signed multiple, let's say, bilateral agreements with them. And all of these three showcases the agreements that we have signed with USA. These are not the only agreements that we have signed. Apart from this, we have signed many other agreements also with the USA. And the last two agreements, that is General Security of Military Information Agreement and Logistics Exchange Memorandum of Agreement. These two agreements are for greater cooperation between the defense forces of both the countries. So they are military ties between India and USA. So all the three statements are correct. Correct answer is option C. Option C means all three. All right. So with this, we are going to cover another topic. This was there in the editorial section of today's newspaper. So this topic says revamping the criminal justice system to fit the bill, right? So this topic is very, very important topic. Why? This topic talks about the new criminal bills that have been introduced by the present government, right? By the government which is ruling, right? So let's discuss about this topic in detail. So we'll be a little quick also. This is an editorial discussion topic. It was there in the editorial page of the Hindu newspaper. It says revamping the criminal justice system to fit the bill. Revamping the criminal justice system to fit the bill. Let's understand about this. So recently the central government of India has introduced 3 bills, right? These 3 bills are known as criminal law bills. Okay, they are known as criminal law bills. So what are the bills that they have introduced? One of the bill is known as Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita. Okay, one of the bill is known as Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita. In short, it is known as BNS, Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita. Second bill that they have introduced is known as Bharatiya Nagrik Suraksha Sanhita. Okay, it is known as Bharatiya Nagrik Suraksha Sanhita. Suraksha Sanhita. Bharatiya Nagrik Suraksha Sanhita. The third bill that they have introduced is known as Bharatiya Sakshya. Right? It is known as Bharatiya Sakshya. So these 3 bills have been introduced by the government of India, right? They have introduced in the parliament, and the thing is the parliamentary committee, right? There was a parliamentary review committee. So that committee has also reviewed these bills. So these bills, I mean, like, the Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita, this bill is going to replace the Indian Penal Code, right? Indian Penal Code of 1860. So Indian Penal Code is the kind of, let's say, like on code, it lists the kind of offenses, different kind of offenses, and also it mentions that what can be the penalty related to it, means like what will be the punishment to a person. So Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita, once it becomes an act, it's going to replace the Indian Penal Code of 1860. Apart from this, if we talk about Bharatiya Nagrik Suraksha Sanhita, it's going to replace the Code of Criminal Procedure 1973. Okay, so it is going to replace the CRPC. Okay, it's going to replace the Code of Criminal Procedure. Then if I talk about the Bharatiya Sakshya, it's going to replace the Indian Evidence Act. Okay, it's going to replace what? Indian Evidence Act. Okay, Indian Evidence Act. And this Indian Evidence Act is of this 1872. Okay, it is 1872. It's going to replace. But the thing is, like, the government has introduced these 3 bills. We need to now understand, are these bills a kind of modernized forms of the previous bills that were there? I mean, like, it is, we can say they are colonial acts, because, like, when Britain was, let's say, was ruling over India, so they had colonized India. So that time they have come up with, let's say, like, these bills. They have come up with Indian Penal Code, they have come up with Criminal Procedure Code or Evidence Act. That's the thing. Now we need to understand that, are these bills going to replace them and make them modern in the sense, like, does they showcase that they are going to modernize this particular thing? Okay, so is it going to reflect the modern jurisprudence? Okay, is it going to replace is it going to reflect the modern jurisprudence? This is one aspect. Other than this, like, is it really are these bills really going to reflect the views of the, let's say, judgments that the Supreme Court of India has taken in many cases? Because there have been multiple cases where the Supreme Court of India, High Courts of India, they have taken decisions, they have struck down some of the provisions of, let's say, like, these bills that were there. So are they going to reflect the judgments of the Supreme Court of India? This is another issue. So are they going to treat the civil laws different than the criminal laws? So these things have been discussed in this particular article. So the author, what author has said, author has discussed about 7 key points. Okay, author has discussed about 7 key points related to these 3 bills. What are 7 key points? The first point, author says whether these bills, like, exclude civil law. Usually criminal law deals with the issues that are seen as an offense against the broader society or state, while the civil law deals with the loss to a person. Okay, so the first question that the author deals with, author says that whether these bills are going to let's say replace the civil laws, whether they are going to, let's say, like, replace the civil laws or exclude the civil laws. So first thing is, are they going to exclude the civil laws? So there are two types of legislation: criminal laws, civil laws. Criminal laws reflect a crime that a person has done. So this crime is considered to be against society or against the state. But when we talk about civil suit, it is means like, when a person loses let's say money, there are financial issues associated. So it is a loss to an individual person. So that that requires civil suit, right? So are they going to exclude the civil laws? This is the first thing that the author has discussed in this article. Okay, are they going to replace civil laws? Second thing that the author says is that whether these bills create a reformative system rather than a punitive system. Okay, so like, is it going to create a reformative system or rather than punitive system that existed? So author says yes, these bills reflect this particular tendency, that it is it showcases a reformative system. Okay, so there is a move towards this by making community service as a form of punishment. However, several minor offenses such as keeping an unauthorized lottery office, which carries a maximum penalty of 6 months, are not compoundable. Okay, which means they will go through the process of trial and conviction. Now we need to understand about one thing: what do we mean by compoundable offense, right? We need to understand what do we mean by compoundable offense, right? What do we mean by compoundable offense? So when we discuss about compoundable offense, let's say there is a person A, there is a person B, right? This person B has committed an offense against person A. But if this person can pardon that person, if this person can, let's say, let go that person, right, without attracting any kind of trial, that is known as compoundable offense. Means like the person has the authority to pardon the other person, that like, whatever you have done, I'm letting you go. That is known as compoundable offense. But however, there are certain kind of offenses that are not considered compoundable offense. In that case, it is necessary that if a person has done something, so he has to go through the trial and other thing. Okay, so this is mentioned over here in this article. So author says yes, there is a movement towards making reformative system. Okay, third point, whether maintenance of public order and the process of criminal prosecution should be in the same law. The CRPC has a provision. So author says like whether maintenance of public order and the process of criminal prosecution should be there in the same law. So author says yes, this is also there in the same law. Then the fourth point, okay, so why I'm discussing these things point by point, so that you also have a sense, you also have an understanding related to this. Okay, fourth point, whether various directions of the Supreme Court of India have been codified in the proposed laws. The bills codifies the procedure of mercy petitions. However, there is no codification of various directions related to arrest and bail. So author says whether the Supreme Court judgments or Supreme Court directions that are there, so have they been codified? So they say like in some cases it has been codified, in many other cases it has not been codified. This is the thing. Then fifth point, whether the bills try to ensure consistency of implementation. Typically penalties of offenses especially are ranged. I mean like, let's consider over here they are saying that there can be a penalty that may attract 1 day of punishment and it may range up to 10 years of punishment. So is it whether these bills reforms this particular thing? Author says no. They have retained the provision of the previous bills in this case also. Then the sixth point, whether the age provision have been updated for modern norms. Okay, sixth point is related to age provisions. What do we mean by age provisions? It simply means if there is a child who is below the age of 7 years, if he has done something, so like, he cannot be tried. I mean like, he cannot be held guilty, he cannot be let's say prosecuted, because child below the age of 7 years, child below the age of, who are less than the age of 7 years, will not be considered as guilty of anything that they do, because like, children have not developed their mindset yet they do not understand what are the consequences of their actions. And the thing is, not only 7 years, I mean, like, there is a provision of up to 12 years also in India. So in this article, they have said that the IPC specifies a child below the age of 7 years cannot be accused of an offense. It provides such exemption until 12 years of age. If the child is found not to have attained the ability to understand the nature and consequences of his conduct, means a child who is below the age of 7 years, he will not be accused of any offense. This is one thing. And this may range up to 12 years. The decision has to be taken by the court, but the court has to see whether the child understands the consequences of his action or not. Okay, so this is the thing. The seventh point that the author says, seventh point is related to whether gender related offenses have been updated, right? So they say yes, gender related offenses have been updated. For example, the section 377. Section 377 is related to, was related to, let's say, like, same sex intercourse between consenting adults. So that has been dropped from this particular bill. So author says that, like, author discusses about 7 key points related to criminal jurisprudence, right, in the new bills and compares it with the previous bills. So these things have been mentioned in this article. So like Chanda Ravidas has joined. Thank you so much for joining. So these are the things in this bill. So finally, the author says that there needs to be a proper parliamentary scrutiny of the new bills replacing the IPC, the CRPC and Indian Evidence Act to ensure a fair, just and efficient criminal justice system. Author finally says that these 3 bills must go through proper scrutiny in the Parliament of India. Means the opposition parties, if they come up with some kind of objections, so those objections must also be taken care of. Okay, this is the thing. Now with this, we will move to another article. It says the United States signal of a huge digital shift. Now this article is related to, let's say, like, digital, digital diplomacy, right? So I would categorize this particular article to be part of digital diplomacy. Let's discuss about this topic quickly. It says the US's signal of a huge digital shift. The US's signal of a huge digital shift, right? The US's signal of a huge digital shift. Now let us understand this thing from the perspective of the strength of the economy of the United States of America. So when we talk about United States of America, most of the technology company, most of the big technology company in the world, okay, most of the big tech companies of the world is located in the United States of America, right? So big technology companies are located in United States of America. So author says, since these companies are located in USA, so USA promotes a sense of globalization. They promote a sense of globalization, what? Related to technology. They promote a sense of globalization. And there was a person, his name is Thomas L. Friedman, okay? His name is Thomas L. Friedman. So Thomas L. Friedman has given a concept in the year of 2005, and according to his concept, he says that, like, that the world was flat. He said that the world is flat. So what do we mean by the world is flat? So we don't have to see the world flat in terms of geography of the world. Means, like, we know that the world is round, right? World is round in that sense. But this particular person, Thomas L. Friedman, has said that the world is flat. Means, like, world is flat like this. Why he said that the world is flat? Because he thinks that globalization has truly, right? Globalization has truly been, let's say, like, there in terms of technological space in the world. Means the tech companies that are big tech companies, they do have their presence all over the world, everywhere. So, like, technology has found its access everywhere in the world. So that's why he said that the world is flat. He means that globalization has enabled the accessibility of technologies around the world. So that's why United States of America has been propounding the ideas. What ideas it has been promoting? That there should be no regulation, there should be no border regulation for tech companies, okay, for tech companies. So it has been promoting this particular idea. Why it has been promoting this idea that there should be no regulation, right? No regulation. What do we mean by this? Let's consider USA is a country which is located in the western part. There can be many countries in the eastern part. Let's consider India, right? Let's consider India, or let's consider some other countries, right, that are not as technologically developed as USA. We know that USA has the maximum number of the top 10 tech companies of the world. It has, right? This is a country where most of the innovation is happening. So the thing is, they want that their company should have access to every market in the world. And in some of the market, for example, in India, we do have, let's say, promoted the idea of data localization. What? We have promoted the idea of data localization. Apart from this, we have also promoted the idea of, let's say, not only data localization, that these tech companies should have their codes of the software in India, right? They should keep their codes, one copy of the codes in India. So a lot of these ideas have been promoted by not only India but many other countries. But United States of America was against these kind of regulations, right? United States of America was fighting a case in the World Trade Organization related to this, right? That there should be no restriction to the technological companies. But now a rival has emerged. A rival has emerged, and the rival of USA, according to this author, the rival of USA is China. Okay, the rival of USA is China. Means China also has invested hugely in technological aspects. So many of the Chinese companies are also growing the way that US companies have grown. Now China is also in favor of, let's say, no regulation for tech companies, because China also wants to reap the benefit that USA has been reaping so far through its big technological companies. But the thing is, China has taken USA has taken a U-turn. USA has taken a U-turn from its previous versions. Earlier it was against data localization and all, but now it has taken a U-turn. It has taken back its stand from the WTO, from the World Trade Organization. If we talk about the European Union, European Union has legislated many laws. One of the law that it has legislated, it is known as GDPR regulation, General Data Protection Regulation. So according to this regulation, the European Union has brought key shift into the way how they regulate the, let's say, technological space, how they regulate the internet space in that particular country. So that's the thing. But the thing is, USA has taken a U-turn, and the author says that there will be a time where USA and China will be rival to one another, and China is going to reap the benefit that USA has been reaping so far in this area. And what the author says about India, so it says resisting digital dependencies. So what does this mean for developing countries such as India? They should make most of the new global consensus on the new need for strong digital regulations. So author says countries like India, right? Author says countries like India, they should focus on, right? Countries like India, they should focus on regulation of data. So Government of India has also come up with various new areas of data regulation. I mean, so in 2021, IT rules have been amended by the Government of India. Now Government of India is coming up with Digital India Act. What? Government of India is coming up with Digital India Act 2023. This Digital India Act is going to replace the Information Technology Act of 2000. So IT Act of 2000, but Digital India Act of 2023. This is the thing. And apart from this, Recently, in today's newspaper itself, there is another article that the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting has come up with a draft legislation. Like, through this, they are going to, they are going to rule over the IT space. I mean, the broadcasting space has changed. Earlier, like, it was based on dish TV, it was based on cable TV networks, but now it has shifted. So, to include the OTT platforms and all, so they have shifted their way, right? So that also I'm going to discuss in today's article. So finally, author says that America's withdrawal from its centerpiece digital trade position at the World Trade Organization now gives developing countries a good opportunity to shape effective digital regulation. Okay, author says that it should be taken as an opportunity by the developing countries like India so that we can shape the digital regulation, right, in our own country. So this is the thing. Apart from this, we have another article. This topic says unending ordeal. Okay, this topic says unending ordeal. So what do we mean by this? So in this article, they have discussed about something which is ragging. Okay, what? Ragging. So we might have heard about this word ragging. So ragging generally happens in colleges, right? In colleges in India. So what happens in colleges? So whenever a fresher batch joins, after qualifying their schooling, whenever they join, their seniors come and rag those students, and ragging takes multiple forms. It may involve, let's say, abuse. It may involve physical violence also. And recently there have been few cases that some students have committed suicide because of ragging activities. So when we talk about ragging related things, so is it banned in India or not? What does state government do related to this? Are there any regulation mechanism? I mean, like, are there any laws in place that talk about ragging, that, let's say, prohibits ragging? And like, has the central government created any committee related to this? So if we read this article, so we will be able to understand this particular topic. So the thing is, in this article, they have talked about that the Supreme Court of India has appointed R.K. Raghavan committee. Okay, the Supreme Court of India has appointed a committee. It is known as R.K. Raghavan committee. R.K. Raghavan committee related to ragging, means like how to stop ragging and all. And it has captured the causes, suggestions and actionable remedies in its 2007 report. So this committee has given a report in 2007. What is the name of that report? The name of that report is The Menace of Ragging in Educational Institutions and Measures to Curb It. Okay, it says the menace of ragging, the menace of ragging in educational institutions. Okay, in educational institutions, right? The menace of ragging in educational institutions and measures to curb it. Okay, and measures to curb it. So this was the report that was given by the R.K. Raghavan committee. So they have, let's say, understood what are the reasons of ragging. They have understood, let's say, like, they have mentioned how to stop these raggings. So they say, like, in the first batch, when a person enters into higher educational institution, so he is a junior, he is ragged by his seniors. Okay, he is ragged by his seniors. But the very next year, he also rags other person, means like a person who is a victim, then he turns into a perpetrator of the same kind of ragging that he has himself witnessed. Okay, so this has perpetuated in Indian society, it has perpetuated in higher educational institutions. Recently we have seen, like in Jadavpur University, one person has committed suicide because of this particular issue. And the UGC has come up with regulation also. So the UGC regulation on curbing the menace of ragging in higher educational institutions 2009, except for formalities such as conducting freshers parties, mandating undertaking from students and parents against indulging in ragging and putting up no ragging notices. Okay, so you might have visited some of the college campuses nowadays, right? Recently I visited the Delhi Technological University, not today, I mean like a few years back. So inside the university premises there were many places where like they have had notice board that no ragging is allowed inside the campus. So it is there, let's say, in many of the colleges, universities across the world, across India. So University Grants Commission has also come up with a notification in 2009 that has mandated two things. One important thing is it has mandated the students to take an undertaking the moment he joins the educational institution, that he will not involve in any sort of ragging activity. Second thing is, let's say, like it mandated the colleges or universities to come up with notices in all visible public places inside the campus of that educational institution, so that ragging can be curbed. Okay, so in this article they have discussed about different measures how we can stop the menace of ragging from our educational institutions. All right, so this article is good. Okay, this article is good in that respect. Now we have another article. This article says Tremors reveal gaps in emergency alert system. So recently we have seen an earthquake activity in Nepal. So it has not happened only once. There have been many instances of earthquakes occurring in Nepal and parts of Delhi. But the thing is, in India, right, in India we have the National Disaster Management Authority, which is NDMA, right? We have National Disaster Management Authority. And this National Disaster Management Authority does have a role to play, right, related to any kind of such kind of, let's say, earthquake related events. This authority is responsible to provide, let's say, warnings, early warnings to the citizens wherever there is a likelihood of occurrence of any kind of disasters, such as let's say like earthquake, tsunami and other related disasters. But recently, I mean like people from The Hindu, they have reached out to the National Disaster Management Authority asking that like recently we have felt tremors in Delhi. Right, there were tremors in the areas adjoining Nepal, but like this authority has failed to provide any early warnings or any notification related to this. Okay, so it has failed to do it. But the Hindu has also reached to one of the technological company, which is known as Google. So it has asked that like what is the status, like does Google provide any kind of early warning kind of thing? So Google said like it does provide, because the Android operating system that we have in mobile phones, most of the mobiles that we have, they are Android operated. So this Android operating system is made by Google. Okay, so its parent company is Google. And if we talk about Apple devices, so they have their own operating system which is of Apple, but Google does provide the early warning or warnings to people, right, in different areas, because Google Map means like it is real time, like they share real time data. However, Google provides the warnings only in those cases where the earthquake is expected to cross a value of 3.5 on the modified Mercalli intensity scale. So what is this modified Mercalli intensity scale? This is a scale that measures the intensity of the earthquake, right? And so this scale has replaced the Richter scale. So this is an alternative to Richter scale. So generally, if the earthquake intensity is very high, like which is above 3.5, only then Google, let's say like, notifies the people. But it is the responsibility of National Disaster Management Authority. So it has a cell broadcast alert system. Recently, few months back in the month of September, many of us, including you, me, we have received a kind of test messages, right, related to disaster. So that test message read that this is just a test message just to check the functionality of early warning alert system, right? So after that test message, many a times we have felt earthquake tremors, but like after that we have not received any kind of warning in our Android mobile systems. So in this article, the author says that tremors reveal gaps in emergency alert system. So the emergency alert system that we have in India, there are gaps. Why there is a gap? That reason is also mentioned in this article. This article says that like in times of disasters, in times of, let's say, calamities, people generally visit the website of National Disaster Management Authority and they check like whether there are any early warning. But during the disaster time, lot of people visit their website. And recently what has happened, since people have visited the website, it has, let's say, overloaded their server and their server is stopped responding. Means like it was not functional during the actual disaster. So the thing is, there should be a need of upgrading the system, their system on a real-time basis, so that if they receive more number of users, the server should be able to respond to that. Okay, so this is what the authors have discussed in this article. Okay, so there is a gap in the early warning alert system in India. This is another article. It says Information and Broadcasting Ministry releases draft broadcasting services bill. Okay, so this Ministry of Information and Broadcasting, okay, Ministry of Information and Broadcasting, Ministry of Information and Broadcasting, right? What this ministry has done, this ministry has come up with a bill which is known as Draft Broadcasting Services Regulation Bill of 2023. Why did they come up with this bill? Because earlier the broadcasting activities were on a different domain altogether. We used to have cable TV network, we used to have dish TV. So the thing is, cable TV network, dish TV, so they were regulated through a kind of legislation that was earlier there. So it is known as Cable Television Networks Regulation Act of 1995. But if we talk about present day technological innovation, now we have OTT platforms, we have over the top platforms, and these over the top platforms are providing streaming services, right? They are providing streaming services through their own portal. So all it needs is internet. So to reflect the changes in the technological area, the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting has come up with this Draft Broadcasting Services Regulation Bill. Okay, it is Draft Broadcasting, right? Draft Broadcasting Services, okay, Draft Broadcasting Services Regulation Bill, okay, Draft Broadcasting Services Regulation Bill of 2023. So this bill includes the OTT platforms also. It includes, let's say, many things wherever we have seen the changes: OTT, digital media, DTH, IPTV, and more. Promoting technological advancement and service evolution, right? And it has replaced, like it is going to replace many of the existing things that are redundant at this point of time. Okay, so this is the thing. So you can read about it. So you can read the draft bill also, right? It is available on the internet. Now we are going to talk about another topic. So this is largely important from the science and technological point of view, science and technology. It says United States approves first vaccine against chikungunya virus for those over 18 years. So far in the world, there was no single chikungunya vaccine, right? So no vaccine was available related to chikungunya. So recently the United States health authorities have approved the world's first vaccine for chikungunya. Okay, United States of America has approved the first vaccine for chikungunya in the world, a virus spread by infected mosquitoes. Okay, so it is a virus that is spread by infected mosquitoes. This vaccine was developed by Europe's Valneva. Okay, so in Europe there is a company, its name is Valneva. They have developed this particular vaccine which is effective against chikungunya virus. Okay, what is the name of this vaccine? It is known as IXCHIQ. Okay, its name is IXCHIQ, IXCHIQ. Okay, its name is IXCHIQ. So what is IXCHIQ? It is the name of a vaccine, and this vaccine is effective against chikungunya. Okay, this is the thing. So we need to remember it. It is factual information. It is for prelims exam, right? Then we have another topic. It is from Indian economy, right? It says September IIP growth falls to 5.8%. What do we mean by IIP? IIP stands for Index of Industrial Production. Okay, Index of Industrial Production actually is a kind of index that measures the level of production from different industries in the like in India. There are many manufacturing industry, goods industry, for example, the cement industry, steel industry. There is like index of 8 core industries also, that includes electricity, that includes cement, that includes oil and natural gas, that includes, let's say, many other aspects like that. So they say that for September month, it has fallen down to 5.8%. However, if we talk about the previous month, August month, so it was around 10.3%. It was at around 10.3%. So this is the thing. So in this article, they have just discussed about various percentages, like which industry has fallen by what percentage. Like, electricity and mining, they grew moderately. So they have discussed about those industries. Okay, that's the thing. So an unfavorable base, excess rainfall and shift in the festival calendar caused a fall in the industrial output in September. Okay, so they discussed about this. Okay, much is not important in this article because these data is not important. So we are going to solve a question related to this. This question will help you to get your concept more clear in this area. It says, consider the following statements related to the index of industrial production. It is published by the Central Statistical Organization, CSO. Second, the 8 core industries comprise 40.27% of the weight of the items included in the index of industrial production. Both these statements are right. So this index of industrial production, this is released by the Central Statistical Organization. And if we talk about index of industrial production, it does have a basket of goods, right? It does have basket of various kinds of goods. And out of those goods, there are 8 important sectors. They are together clubbed. It is known as 8 core industries, right? So this 8 core industries comprises a weightage of 40.27% in the overall index of industrial production. Both these statements are right. So correct answer would be option C in this case. Okay. Option C is the right answer. We have included the explanation also. It is released by Central Statistical Organization, and those industries that are part of 8 core industries, right? They are cement, right? They are cement, coal, crude oil, electricity, fertilizers, natural gas, refinery products and steel. Okay, these are the part of 8 core industries. Okay, so that will be all from my side for the day. Thank you so much everyone for attending today's session. I hope you have a good day ahead. Thank you.